All right, everybody. Good evening. Welcome to the next session of Inkarnate. I apologize for being a little late today, a little later than I wanted to get started. But we're here and we're gonna be working on the next map in Inkarnate. Technically, there's still some work left to be done on the Fuwar shipping agency Caverns. Just a little bit of polish, but we're not gonna. We're gonna take a look at that today. Might as well get that opening up while we're sitting here and getting started. Um, so welcome everybody. If this is your first time here, I'm Tim Anderson, aka Renfail, and I am one part of the Wandering Hermits, which is a small company working on an intellectual property called The Weave and the Void. The map behind me is the world map for this world. You can find more information about the entirety of the project over at our Patreon page, patreon.com/Wandering Hermits. You can also check out the websites, wanderinghermits.com and weaveandvoid.com and all the related social media. It is a three-part project that encompasses a point-and-click adventure game, a book series with chapter art, and a 5th edition tabletop setting and campaign modules. The first of which is called Escape from Parthana, and I am currently working on finishing up the rest of the maps for that first campaign module. We've already done, as you could see when we first started up the stream, there's quite a few maps already there that have been worked on since March of this year when we started, or not this year, sorry, March of 2021 when we started the project. Um, and getting down to the last. I mean, technically, I only need to do two more maps basically to wrap everything up. I will probably do more just to have additional maps on hand and to flesh things out a little bit more. But we really only have two more maps to do, and those are the sewer maps, which are going to connect to this map right here. And then we're going to move on. And that coffee is not nearly hot enough, so. All right. Anyway, and if this is your first time here, don't forget follow along to Twitch. And if you're watching this later on in YouTube, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon, get all the updates for future content. And don't forget you can check out all the links below on both places to find our Discord if you want to hang out with us there. All right, so I've got, if you remember from the previous sessions that I did before the holidays, coming in here, we're working on this. This is the stairway up to the Fuwar shipping agency here, and this is sort of an area where the people hang out. There's some storage stuff here. Then we've got these caverns where we've got this northern section of the caverns, which goes down to the docks, where we've got some additional stuff here. The polish that we can add is we can add more boxes and crates on top of the boats if we want, um, add some NPCs around in the map and so on and so forth. But I'm not going to worry about that too much at the moment because those are elements that we can figure out as we're going into the finalization of the maps for the tabletop itself, plan out the encounters themselves and place NPCs accordingly, or we'll just use whatever VTT program we're using. Currently, we're using Fantasy Grounds, so we can always just add additional elements in Fantasy Grounds, which is why I don't always feel the need to completely flesh these maps out, because we can add those final details in Fantasy Grounds because they have their own assets. You can import a map in there and then add elements on top of it, add your encounter NPCs, the grid, and everything else, and flesh it out additionally on an as needed basis. But we're going to make a copy of this map because there's something that I want right away. Let's do this. We're going to go back actually. And I want to clone that map and call it Caverns 1. And we're going to go into the Caverns 1 map. let it load up a bit. Hello, folks. All right, so now we've got this in here. I'm actually going to select everything once it finishes loading completely. All right. See, the easiest way to do this, we can select all and then just delete. Now we're left with the painting, but I'm not too worried about the painting because we can go in here and use our brush tool, and I believe it was this one. Yep. So we can use that brush tool. So I'm going to do something here real quick. I'm going to save the map, and then we're going to refresh it. Because it's upset right now because it just deleted a whole bunch of stuff off the map, so the cache is a little cranky. But since I want to keep the actual background of this the same because we're doing a similar interior cavern layout, I don't want to have to actually repaint the entire thing. So since we've already got a bulk section already painted, it's easier just to clone the map. Oops, I need to refresh the page here real quick. Excuse me. All right. So we're going to go back in here into the painting, and we're going to just repaint these sections. You know what, though? Something I forgot about. Let's go ahead and save this. There's one more small little tweak I need to make. We're going to go out to this and open it at a 2K resolution, not the Ultra 4K. Because we're not doing placement of assets or objects at the moment, we're just doing painting and some very rough cavern layout. So we're going to lower that resolution. Okay, get this painted over. I don't mind a little bit of overlay. Because we're not going to have the sea in here. It's being really laggy today. I wonder if they've done I know they've done some patching to Inkarnate. But it's definitely being a bit laggy painting. Who knows? I'm not too worried about it at the moment. We're just going to do some broad sweeps here. Alright, that should have gotten rid of all the rocks too, because we had some rocks on there. Okay. Now we're going to go back to the cave walls that we were using before, but I don't know if I want to use the same ones that I was using before, because I was using different ones, but we've got these cliffs here, and since we're doing caverns, I might actually want to use these instead. Now we're going to bring these down to size 30 because that's the size we were working with for the previous map. And it doesn't really matter where we start up here on the top because we are connecting to the other map. Let me look here which one I want to use. Probably this right here. That doesn't look too bad. We can flip that around. Okay. Give me another one here. Just going to drag everything out here for the moment so I can see all these individual pieces. We've already got that one on the map. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and start to get this. So I think we're going to come in here with this piece first. And maybe do a little bit something like this. Turn that piece around. Maybe overlay that like that, so. And we're going to have this open up a little bit as we get in here. Okay. Now we got a big map to work with, and the sewers don't have to, because we're doing 2 levels of the sewers here, I'm not too worried about my layout at the moment, because we're going to come in here and do our own little thing. I sometimes will do maps, sketches by hand, which if you saw the, when I was doing the map for the, underneath the Fuwar shipping agency, I used a pencil sketch first, but this one we're not doing that per se. We're just gonna freehand some stuff here. So we're gonna have this be a chamber right out the front. I want another one of those and another one of these. Those 2 pieces work pretty well. Okay. Oops. I accidentally reduced that in size. These are almost a little too straight. I don't know where I'm going to use those quite yet. We'll have some chambers coming up, but I don't like them at the moment. Okay. I think what we're going to do here is we're going to have two different... I can actually maybe use one of these right here. I'm actually going to pull that out. And we'll have this be a branch off passage here. We can stick this here. Okay, let's go ahead and save that for the moment. Evening Sparrow. I mean, I feel like whatever patch they did the other day has made this choppy as hell. I don't know what is going on with the choppiness of the map for some reason. It's definitely being laggy. Okay. So that's a good starting structure here. Now what I'd like to do, if I want to get a little crazy, is I could just come in here and select these. And we're going to paste those down over here. And that'll give us a nice little predefined section of a wall that we can use to just put right there without having to do all the additional pieces. And if we take this section here and copy it down here, flip that around, move that up. So if you're all seeing that, like it's extremely laggy as I'm moving these bits and pieces around. It's not supposed to be like that. So whatever they've done, they did a big patch the other day, and it looks like there may be something going on with the browser-based program. I reduced it to 2K, which usually makes it smooth as silk, so I'm not quite sure what's going on with this. I could go reduce it again, but I'm not gonna do that for the moment. All right, now let's take another section, say this one right here. And we can probably So as you can see, basically, you know, the hardest part is the very beginning where we're building out initial sections. But then once we've got initial sections, we can then start to copy and paste and use those to just have huge sections of the cavern that we want to then break out. And I actually don't want all of these. I only want to use this section. So let's move that away. We're actually going to break it out a little bit. take this one little piece here and switch it so that it's not quite as abrupt. We can actually take this piece as an overlay. We can take this. Probably have this be a part of the other. Move these over. And I kind of want this to have maybe this section right here. Or we can kind of have a move it over a couple notches. And that gives us a nice dead end right there. Saves the work. Also, I don't know why I named this map Caverns. It's actually sewers. All right, so from here, we don't have to fill the whole space out, but we definitely need a tie-in to the other caverns, or the other sewers, I should say, which will lead up to the street. These sewers are standalone sewers that are not going to have an entrance to the. These are going to be more. These actually might be caverns now that I think about it in greater detail. Caverns that connect the sewers. So it's the sewers that connect to here that connect to the caverns underneath the Fuwar shipping agency. That might work. All right, let's see here. I kind of want to replicate this, but on the other angle. Okay. Something like that. And then we can just, if we want to, we can replicate this entire, not that one. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about with the lag. Gonna have to figure that out because it's never. For those of you who've watched my Inkarnate streams before, you know that it's never like this. So I'm not sure what's causing the lag issues. We're gonna have to sort that out because it's definitely impacting. Let's go ahead and give that a slight turn. Bring it down a notch. Delete that piece. All right, we're gonna save. Yeah. Yeah, so I'm gonna back out real quick anyway, Sparrow, because I'm gonna see if I can't fix the issue with the lag. So I'll show you where this connects. So this is the top section. We're gonna go back to the other maps. So if you see here, the caverns here on the southern end of this, I might just open this up in another. Might take a minute to open this. Actually, this might be a good chance to check to see if this map has the same issue with the lag. Because the last time I worked on maps was about 3 weeks ago before the holidays, and they've done two big patches. Um, and one of the things in the patch notes actually said that they had addressed some performance issues, and I'm sitting here going, well, it appears to have made it worse for me. Um, so this southern section here, um, on the southern part of this map, that's where you that's where it connects down here in the south. So out of curiosity, yeah, it's definitely being laggy here on this map too. I don't know what is going on. Let's try to open it at 1K resolution and see if that helps. I've never built at 1K. That's really poor looking at 1K. A lot of curiosity. It definitely still seems to be lagging. I may have to do some troubleshooting after we wrap up this episode. I'm gonna suffer through for now. Um, definitely need to bring that back down to size 30. And I think what I want to do is like a curve like so. I mean, that did help, but it's still not perfect. So we're going to bring that out like this. Delete that. Let's get this curve section here. Oh, the 1K is definitely helping. It's still not as smooth as before, but all right, let's take this and delete it. All right. Yeah, I'm basically finished with the other map. I just need to add a few little last details, but I was saying earlier in the stream, I think before you got here, I'm not too worried about doing that because considering these maps are going to be used with fantasy grounds, um, I don't mind not having 100% of the detail on these maps because when I put it into fantasy grounds, I can then you can add additional elements to the map within fantasy grounds like trees and crates and wagons and NPCs for the encounters and everything else. So it doesn't have to be done 100% here. Obviously, though, because not everyone's going to be using Fantasy Grounds, these maps are also meant to be purchased by the patron. The patron subscribers get those as part of their subscription, and then we will also have these maps available as standalone maps on the website, meant to be used with different virtual tabletop programs. So they do have to have some level of fidelity to provide everybody with an end-user experience that they need. All right, let's have this open up a little bit. Can I use this section? We don't want it to be exactly the same. let's create don't actually like the way that angle works right there, so we can maybe do something like this. We'll have a tunnel that juts off in this direction. And then we can put like a wall right here. So we can have a split. Just like so. Okay. Nope, I don't want to make those bigger. Something like that. Okay. Okay. Let's go ahead and give that a save. That's not too bad. think I actually want to build a big subterranean chamber now that I'm thinking about this. Like we're sort of towards the middle of this map, I can actually start fleshing this out. Like putting a big old chamber here that I don't care about that piece. And we can put like a big pit in the center of this chamber. Perhaps. Whether or not that looks a little too uniform. Let's ditch that idea. Let's try this one. That's a little better. Still kind of. Come on, doesn't want to move. No worries, have fun, Sparrow. That actually looks pretty good. Give it a big chamber in the middle. Doesn't look too bad. Put this up here. Let's see if I can copy a bit from there. Probably need to have a break off here and have a little something something. Figure that out in a minute. I probably just copy. Something like that. And gives us that. And we can have a break off here. This goes off to the next section of the sewers, more than likely. Can we do this? We totally can. That looks great. You can still see some of that. I gotta repaint that real quick. There we go. There's still some of the blue left over from the previous map. And some red. I can see some smudging. Alright, got rid of that. Let's copy this entire section here. We could do that right there. We can twist it just a little bit. Okay. I don't mind this entire structure here, but we're gonna need to make it bigger. And then we just need a little piece like so. And we've got a nice little structure here. All right, let's see what we're doing here next. I feel like we can take this and flip it around. No, I feel like this whole section needs to come in more. Maybe not quite that tight, but something like that. No, I don't like any of that. I feel like what I just take this, flip it, and get rid of bits and pieces. And I feel like that is a pretty good rough second layer of sewers. Now, obviously, we have some painting to do and we have some asset placement still, but this overall layout, I'm pretty happy with this right now. Let's go ahead and save this. Well, they're getting there, Haley. Bit by bit. So we'll have one more section. These are going to be more like caverns that blend into the sewers. And then the next map will be 100% the sewers. And then those will tie into the street top. So these are the last two maps we have to finish for the campaign module. So the objective is to wrap these up over the next couple of weeks. And then I've got the rest of January into February to work on any additional maps that I want or I think that are necessary as we get closer to the launch of everything. Getting sidetracked. Looks like Nathan Napalm just put out his 4th episode of our tabletop adventures. So I'm curious now what they have in terms of all right, these are the dungeon assets, maybe. Obsidian platform. I'm trying to see if there's anything that could represent like the massive hole that I want to put in the middle, or if I'm just gonna have to do it with paints, because I might have to paint the hole. Nah, that's not gonna work. So I haven't really looked through the assets yet to see what I've got in terms of making a massive pit that descends into the depths of who knows where. There might be a stamp in here that I can use, but if not, I'll have to just paint it. We've got effects though. Smoke. Ooh, burning ashes. That might look kind of cool if I can figure out how to. I'll figure something out, but it's going to take some experimentation, which I'll probably do off stream so I can figure out how I want to do that. But the next step to this is going to be to probably paint the interior. Just for shits and giggles, I'm going to reload this real quick, see if that helps the performance, which has been a bit sketchy today. I don't know how I want to paint the. Let's drop the opacity down to like. That doesn't look too bad. Let's take it up to 50. That's not too bad at all. So let's go ahead and give this all a quick paint over. Give ourselves a nice looking interior texture. Doesn't look too bad. That looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and save that. And now one of these has rocks. I don't remember which one it is. Ah, it's this right here. But I remember the yeah, this is the size I don't know about. Let's paint. That might be a little too big. Well, that's not too bad, I guess. Probably better put the opacity up. Oops, that's not what I want to do. Opacity. Yeah, I want to bring those up. So let's put those back at 10. Keep the opacity there. Bring that up and let's just paint some rocks here. Move across this whole bottom side. Put some rocks in this corner. Sort of like that. Let's put some rocks around this corner. Maybe around here. That's not too bad. I need to repaint this real quick. Get rid of those rocks. Okay. Got some overall happiness there. And then I want to take this and bring the opacity way down. And I wanted to have an overlay. Let's do 30 ought to be fine. So I was wanting to do an overlay here. Oh, that's way too much. There we go. I just want a slight, very slight green, kind of leading down to the sewers, like there's, you know, there's more moisture in these caverns than there is up top. So we have some moss. I could probably bring that up just a little bit. That's too much. Needs to be subtle. Something like that. little bit of green. And I know I'm going to put something here in the middle, but I'm still just painting over it anyway, just in case, because you never know what I'm going to do with it. And then here we could definitely bring that green up a little bit more because we're getting closer to the sewers where it's definitely mossier. All right. I think that is probably a good point for us to call today's session a wrap. Those are looking pretty good for now. I have to decide what we're going to put in here or if we're just going to leave it like this, because theoretically we could leave it just like this and then whatever we want to have players put into their virtual tabletop campaigns. But I still want to do something in the middle of this big cavern, and then I have to decide if we want to make any of these additional side caverns into storerooms or something. But otherwise, this is looking pretty good so far. This is a good second layer, and it gives the players quite a bit to explore. You could definitely have something down in here like a kobold camp or a goblin camp in one of these caverns. Um, Set up an undead, like an old cemetery, an abandoned um, storeroom. There's lots of things you could put in here, so I have to give this some more thought. Don't forget, I'll be doing live streams of the Inkarnate sessions every Monday throughout 2022 at 5 p.m. Central Time on Monday afternoons here on Twitch. These maps are part of the Escape from Parthana campaign module for the Weave in the Void tabletop campaign, which is part of what we're building with the Weave in the Void world, which is the map behind me. Everything that's being done here is being produced through our Patreon page. So if you want more information about this, you can go over to patreon.com/wandering hermits. These maps that we're doing here, as well as the world map, those are all available to our patrons. Um, we have a couple of map packs that have already been uploaded, and then once we get the campaign module done, there'll be an additional map pack that will have everything combined into one big package for everybody. And these maps can either be used with the campaign. I'd say about 85% of them can be used standalone. So these will be available for purchase for other campaigns if you want to use them outside of our own campaigns. Otherwise, you can find all these maps and everything else over at the Patreon page. If you liked what you saw here today, don't forget to follow along here on Twitch. Those of you who hung out during the stream today, thanks so much for hanging out. If you want to, you can also head on over to our Discord. Links are down below. Hang out with our community members. There's also an entire section dedicated to the Weave in the Void. And of course, if you feel so inclined, don't forget we're doing a giveaway right now, mostly related to our D&D streams on Sunday nights. But if you want to check that out, you can. But we're doing giveaways for some hand-painted miniatures as part of our subscription run. So if you subscribe to Twitch, you get a chance to be in the raffle for those. If you're watching this later on after the fact over at YouTube, don't forget subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon so you get updates for future content. And of course, don't forget to hang out, check out all the other videos we've got up here. Thanks for following along today, everybody. I'm Tim Anderson, aka Renfail, signing off. I will be back tomorrow night, tomorrow afternoon, I should say, at 5 p.m. Central for the first of our miniature painting sessions. I'm not painting these ones. We got other miniatures that we're going to be painting, but we're starting that process tomorrow, and I will be live streaming as I get back up to speed with miniature painting, which I haven't done in a couple few years. So it's been a bit. Got to get back on that horse, and everything is going to be up on our Etsy store, which is coming down the pipeline. So stay tuned for all that, everybody. Thanks, and I'll see you all next time I do a live stream.